So let's start with our feet shoulder width apart. We're going to clasp our hands together and reach our arms up overhead. So we're just bringing the arms right in by the ears, often a position that you would sometimes get into if you're practicing some drills in the pool. So keeping the arms nice and close to the ears, we're just going to lean side to side, just stretch a little bit. So we're opening up the hips, opening up the ribs. Okay, then maintain that position. So feel like you're really reaching the top of your knuckles up towards the ceiling, and we're just going to rotate the hips. So let the hips just turn side by side, keeping those arms just down around by your ears. So try and keep them nice and tight in here if you can. Okay, so just let yourself rotate through those hips. Okay, then bring the arms into more of a goal pose position, and we're just going to reach the arms up and down. So imagine you're sliding the back of your arms on the wall behind you, really trying to open up the chest, squeezing those shoulder blades together, trying to engage some of these shoulder muscles. Okay, control the ribs, so try not to let the ribs flare. And in our pelvis, we're trying to stay in this neutral position. So just keep going up and down. Okay, let's bring in some rotation now. So keep the arms in that position. So just moving at the waist, rotating left and right. Okay, now let your hips come to. So this would obviously be good for anybody doing rotation type sports such as golf or tennis. And then bring the arms down. Let's open up the hips a little bit. So let's bring out the legs nice and wide into a sumo squat position. Let's keep the arms in that W position and just slide up and down. So imagine you're sliding up and down the wall behind you. So as you come back up, imagine you have to squeeze your heels together. So just down and up. And bring the arms down. So turn your feet so they're pointing straight ahead now, and we'll just stretch out the groins a little. And come down. Let's come down onto one knee now. So left leg up, right leg down, and just press forward till you feel that stretch through your hip flexor. So the right, front of the right hip. Let's bring the arms back into the stretch. So just opening up through the chest. If you want, you can clasp your hands again together. Holding it there, just leaning over to the side. Opening up the lats and the ribs, coming back to the middle. And again, so press forward and then just lean over to the side and come back. And side and back. Okay, switch side. So bring the arms up, press forward. Okay, now we're going to place our hands onto the inside of this foot. I'm going to bring in some more rotation. So again, just push the hip forward and bring the arm up. So I'm using this hand to anchor against the inside of this knee and just rotate and come back down. And again, so there's a slight forward movement and a rotate up and back. So the head is following the hand, and we switch sides. So press forward through the hips and then rotate up. So let me do lots of rotation. and come back. Onto hands and knees now. Let's find our neutral pelvis position, so we don't want to be tucked under, not arched, somewhere in that middle, and just hold that position. So we're going to rotate again. So let's just start with the arm first. So left hand behind your head, bring the elbow down to the other arm, and then rotate up. So nice and strong through your right arm. And now we're going to extend the opposite leg out. Try not to overly arch the back. And one more. Let's switch to the other side. So right hand behind your head. So let's just start with the rotation. Now add in the leg. And one more. And just take a stretch. So just rock forwards and back and just stretch. And then let's just walk our arms out nice. So we're getting a nice stretch through the shoulders and the upper back. Come back onto hands and knees. And we're going to go into the Superman stretch. So hands underneath the shoulders. So right arm and left leg, stretching nice and long. Okay, small little lifts of both. Try not to let your hip push out to the side. Stay in that neutral, so engage the tummy muscles. And then switch. And again, little lifts, but not creating an arch in the back. And coming back down. And take a stretch out again, forwards and back. Let's come all the way down onto the stomach now. So arms out in front. So bring your arms, kind of slide your hands back so you're drawing your shoulders into their sockets and just lift the chest slightly. From that position, just lift the right leg just a couple of inches off the floor and then lower. And the left. So if you feel any back pain, just go down a little bit lower. So small little lifts. Okay, we're going to add in the arms now, so opposite arm and leg. And then we're going to go into a hover, so everything hovering, and we just do little lifts. Okay, if it's too sore on your lower back, go all the way down and just do one diagonal at a time. And then a little bit faster, as if we're almost swimming. And then drop the feet down. So let's give the back a little stretch out, and stretch. So coming on to the hands and knees again, let's walk back into our plank position and just work on a little bit of strength through our shoulders. So just holding that plank, holding the tummy, making sure your bottom isn't up here. If you're struggling, just keep tapping the knees down and just hold that position. Nice and strong. As you get stronger, you can progress to doing some leg lifts here. But try not to have your bottom up too high when you're doing them. And slowly come down and take a stretch. Back down onto your stomach now. We're going to go into a W position, so arms out to the side. So lift the chest and then lift the arms and squeeze the shoulder blades together and then lower. So we really want to try and strengthen up these muscles between the shoulders and lower. And again, lift and lower. And lift and lower. And lift and lower. And lift and hold it there. So hands and elbows are roughly the same distance away, and we reach the arms forwards and back, so away from the floor. So reach. Squeezing those shoulder blades. And down we go. Let's bring the hands directly underneath the shoulders and bring the elbows in nice and tight. So lift the hands just a couple of inches off the floor and then lift the chest and just squeeze the elbows into the side, pointing the elbows up to the ceiling. And then lower. So it's a chest lift, a hand lift, and then a squeeze and just a lift a little bit higher and lower. And again. And lower. And lift. And lower. And lift. And lower, and lift, and lower, and one more lift, just holding it there, and down we go. So just rest your forehead on your hand, and back to working the hips. So we're just going to lift the right leg up, just a small distance away from the floor, and just do some little lifts here. So try not to, as you lift the leg, create a big arch here in the lower back, so stay in your neutral position and small lifts up to the ceiling. Keep going. And switch for the leg, little lifts. Thinking the leg is nice and long, staying in that neutral position. And then we're going to turn our toes slightly out and bring our heels together. We're going to hover both legs slightly. We're going to take the legs out and then tap the heels together. Out and in. Out. So these are called heel beats. And now we're going to do them a little bit faster. So we beat together for 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. Lower the legs down. We lift them up again and tap those heels together for 1, 2, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, and down. Legs up again, toes turned out, and tap those heels together for 1, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, and down. Hands underneath your shoulders. Let's press back into a stretch again. And come back. Okay, so let's go over onto our backs. So lying down on your back. Again, find that neutral position. So we're often wanting to work these diagonals, so opposite arm and leg. So we're going to do that again here. So let's bring the left leg into tabletop and the right arm up. So we're trying to control this rotation and this extension of the back as the arm and the leg go back. So stay neutral, extend out your leg, lower it down and take your arm back at the same time and come back. And try not to let your ribs stick out and try not to let your back arch. So out and in. So the legs going out, down and back. Okay, if you want to make this more difficult, the other foot is coming up. Let's stay still and we go. So working my tummy muscles a bit stronger now. Also putting more strain on the back, so if that feels like it's too much strain, then that foot needs to come down. Okay, and one more time. Okay, and let's switch to the other side. Okay, so breathe nice and relaxed for a second. Okay, so just start with the other leg down at the moment. So just going out, down, and coming back. Okay, let's make it a little bit more difficult, knowing that we can always put that leg down again if it feels too much. Controlling. And bring the knees to the chest. Stretch both legs up to the ceiling now. And we're just going to do like little kicks. Okay, so small movements. Now, if you feel you've got the control, you can start coming down a little bit lower and then working your way back up. So coming down, going back up. Okay, if you're feeling it's too challenging, bend the knees a little and do it more like a march. So trying not to let that back arch, controlling, using those tummy muscles as much as you can. Little kicks. And pull the knees to the chest and take a stretch. Okay, let's roll over onto our side. So lying with one leg stacked on top of the other, your ears resting against your arm, your top hand is resting on the top of your thigh, on your hip. So holding that position. So we're going to just try and lift our head up off our hand by sliding our hand down our thigh and back. So we're using our oblique muscles here, so try not to strain your neck and back. So this is a drill that you would sometimes be on your side in the pool, and you would sometimes be kicking on your side, so it just helps get that control and that balance. And coming back up. Okay, so now we're going to just lift up the top leg and lift up the bottom leg. Lower the bottom leg, lower the top leg. Let's bring the hand up to make it a little bit more challenging. So lift up the top, lift up the bottom leg goes down, top leg goes down. So lifting up the top, bottom goes down. So working these muscles at the side. Okay, and then seeing can we lift, keep those both lifted, and just small again, little kicks forwards and back. Trying to stay balanced. Almost imagining that we're in the pool or the sea. Try not to wobble around too much. If you get too wobbly, this hand can come down for a bit of support. And then lowering down. So just lifting the top leg up now, nice and long. And we're just going to make small little lifts up and down. So up and down. Okay, so feeling these muscles starting to work at the side of the hip. Try not to bunch into the waist, so think nice and long. Okay, little circles now. This hand can be up to make it more difficult. And circle the other way. And down again. Okay, so let's do that to the other side. So let your head rest on your arm. stack your hips one on top of the other. Sometimes it can be a bit uncomfortable lying on the side of the hip, if so put a cushion in here just to help. Okay, so just arm down your side, and you're just going to do that small little lift up and down. So don't strain the neck, try and use these muscles here to bring yourself up. And you might find that you do this better on one side than the other, that's quite normal. So small enough movement. And down you go. Okay, so lifting up the top leg now, lift up the bottom, lower the top. So top leg lift, bottom leg lift, bottom leg lower, top leg. So top leg lift, bottom leg lift, lower the bottom, the top. Keep going, top and bottom, bottom down and top. And if you want to make it a bit more challenging, and then let's stay up there and just balance and do our little kicks. Trying to control that balance and the wobble. If you're too wobbly, bring your hand down. Keep the knees straight. And then bring it down. Just the top leg now, lifts, small little lifts up and down. Make sure the leg doesn't drift forward. Little circles. And bringing it down. Okay, coming back up onto hands and knees. We're going to do an exercise called thread the needle and then come up into a star. So again, just helping with our rotation, so sliding under. So imagine you're trying to bring your right ear down towards the mat, the back of the shoulder down, so you're getting a stretch through the shoulders, bending your left elbow. Then you're going to bring that leg round and come up into a star position. Okay, so we're going to go round and through, threading the needle, coming back up and rotate. So go down and through, coming back up and rotate. And one more. Great, let's switch over to the other side. So on the hands and knees, so rotate, go through, and then coming up into your star, and through, and star, and through, and star, and one more, through, and star. Good, and then coming back and just walking those hands forward again into that shoulder stretch, dropping the head, really trying to get as much mobility out of these shoulders as we can. So try with the thumbs pointing up and also with the back of the hands. So just trying to get a stretch through the back of the shoulders. Okay, coming back up into kneeling and up into standing. Cast the hands forward and just push forward and just really allow those shoulder blades to come apart at the back. Coming up and reaching up to the ceiling. Leaning to the left again. And coming back and to the right. And back and left. And back and right. And back. Hands behind your head. So drop the left elbow towards the left hip, let the right elbow drop down, then point the elbow back up to the ceiling and come back. So over to the right side, let the left elbow drop down, stretch up towards the ceiling and come back. And over to the side and drop, and come back up and one more to each side, and the other side, and drop, and come back up, and open the arms out nice and wide, and bring the arms up. So reach the arms up again, go side, go down, and one more up, and side, and down, and we're all done. So just a short routine for some exercises that might be useful for swimmers.